welcome to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, with the US elections entering its last lap, we are here to discuss whether Donald Trump can pull off a Brexit. Can he come out with a last-minute surprise win, or are the pundits right when they say it's kind of, well, a walkover for Hillary Clinton? Joining me on the roundtable is Arvind Gupta. He's the head of the BJP IT cell. We have Venu. He's the founding editor of the Wire.in, and Dilip Cherian. He's an image guru. Dilip, since you're the image guru, what is Donald Trump doing wrong?
I think he's doing...
What is he doing right? Actually, that's an easier question.
He's doing many things wrong, and we won't start with the hair. But there is this inability to articulate beyond a kind of prepared set of 5 idiot points. And that's very dangerous in an American election, because issues go all over the place. The women issue, I don't even need to go towards, because I think that people are thinking that this is a woman thing, but actually America occasionally goes through cycles of high moral grounding. Okay, so if a high moral wave comes in between now and election time, then there is bound to be a huge reaction against him. What works for him in terms of imagery is the image he created, which is also punctured, of a very successful businessman who is extremely wanted, has an alternate career outside of politics, and therefore is fit to lead.
Venu, first of all, are you agreeing with my assumption that it's more or less a walkover for Hillary, barring some last-minute rollover?
Well, I wouldn't say walkover, but I would certainly say Hillary has gained a decisive lead after the debates began, the first debate, second particularly. So when this whole misogyny of Donald Trump got exposed in the media, and his attitude to women, mind you, there are a lot of common factors between Brexit and here. In both places, there's a yearning to recover old economy jobs. Trump said that he wants to revive steel mills and give steel mill workers their jobs in Baltimore, etc. Good old days when white Americans would just finish their matriculation and get into a very good manufacturing job, have a nice house, keep a dog. Trump has managed to build managed to at least send perception that he'll rebuild that dream. But Americans are not Britishers, so Americans also understand a lot of other dynamics, because America is a leader of globalization. So overnight they know that the cheaper Chinese goods have given them a lot of low-cost living.
Access,
The moment Trump has argued that he'll raise tariffs to 45%. If that happens, there will be a world recession. Some economists have said that China's GDP growth could fall by up to 4 percentage points if Trump comes to power, raises tariffs 45%.
Okay.
But that's not the main reason. I think Hillary has taken a lead because women voters are overwhelmingly in her favor.
Let me bring in Arvind on this issue. Arvind, you have some very interesting data that you were talking about.
See, first of all, 3 weeks to go. 3 weeks is too long in any election, American election including. So, as of right now, especially after the second and the third debates, and just before the second debate when the Trump tapes came out, I think Mr. Trump has inflicted a lot of wounds on himself. He has made no new friends. He has, he has not been able to really, get some of the swing women voters towards him. And men are overwhelmingly voting for him. So that's the biggest data point. Men are still overwhelmingly voting for him. His message on jobs and economy that he will get back is really making the voter in the 5 swing states of Pennsylvania, Florida, Michigan, Iowa, Ohio go towards him, tilt towards him. But again, when 90% of the women are not going to vote for you, it's a very tough battle for him. And so unless something drastic happens between now and November 8th, and women keep continuing to distrust him the way they are, I don't think so it's going to change a lot. And, but there is a term in America called the October surprise. So whether the October surprise has already happened, which was the Trump tapes, or something new is there, we don't know.
October surprise. Dilip, the discussion topic was also, can he pull off a Brexit? Venu talked about it. My thing is, can he pull off a hidden vote? Is there a hidden feeling when people don't say that during surveys, but at the end of the day, they may go vote for him?
That's a good point. In fact, having been in the UK at the time of the Brexit vote, I know that it came as a shock to most people in Britain itself, okay, especially to the young. So what we are arguing here is male and female. We are not talking of where the young are going to go.
Good point,
Okay,
yeah.
that's a big issue which Brexit also discovered. The young, unfortunately, don't come out and vote. The second thing is that, to take Arvind's point further, there is another, meaning October surprise could also include some oddity in the Bible Belt coming out and distinguishing between what is called routine male supremacy versus groping. And that issue has still not come up, because he's appealing still to a kind of white male who's anyway feeling emasculated by the rise of the American woman, which has happened over the years, meaning the last 5 decades have changed the role of American men. So these could be elements of October surprise, which I suspect Trump is managing his campaign very well since he changed managers. All these things have been, outside loop lines which have hit him badly. So does he have something planned? I tend to go with Arvind. Probably he has something more up his sleeve, which we need to analyze before how it's going to vote.
If I can add to that, see, the thing is, what Dilip just described, in Brexit also there's a term called the shy Tories, people who don't ever come out in social circles even, will come out and say we will vote for the Tories. But same thing, there are a lot of people in social circles in the US, especially the middle America, that is saying, no, we don't like Mr. Trump. But internally, they symbolize and they kind of like his pitch on the jobs. They think that he's the revival of the white supremacist race, and so there could be a hidden vote out there. The second thing I want to say from a data perspective, and I think Venu will agree with it, it's very interesting. Most of these surveys are doing sampling of 1,000, 2,000 people. That worries me a lot. That worries me a lot. And every day you see the media, which is tilted towards probably a particular party or a campaign, producing numbers which are really supporting that particular candidate.
There's a deja vu there somewhere.
No, so I'm not saying that. I mean, what I'm saying is, in such a large country, 2,000 people, 3,000 people sample size looks too small to me, and the margin of error is too.
That's true. Yeah.
So this October surprise can be a November shock.
Yeah, but there are other things also which have gone against Trump. America, the middle America that Arvind just spoke about, they are conservative, and they also set store by certain values. They do not like this idea of 1 billion tax loss that he showed and evaded tax. Those things they may fully go by Trump's basic economic framework, that he's going to
Make America great
make
again.
America great. He's going to give us jobs. He'll bring back America's manufacturing prowess. But they don't like, as I said, he's been on a very, very weak wicket defending his own business conduct.
On that.
See, I think this election has turned out to be whom do you distrust more, right? I mean, actually, whereas the tax issue has been hounding, the women issue has been hounding Mr. Trump, Hillary has no clean chart on that, right? I mean, her foundation's record has been very bad. Her whole performance on Benghazi, on email scandals. So she's getting hounded again and again by that, with a special interest group funding her. So I think it's, there is a little bit of spice still left in this elections, in my opinion.
As the saying goes, Dilip, you hold your nose and you vote. Which one you press the button?
Absolutely. I think that the dislikability index of both candidates is probably higher than any other previous election that we can recollect. Hillary somehow seems very wooden. I don't think that she's even appealing to the young. In his kind of Sir Galahad kind of manner, without the appearance of civility, he does still appeal to people in some way. People may hate him, but they enjoy watching him. He makes for great TV. And America is led by the nose by what happens on TV.
I want to add one thing here. It's it's paradoxical, in fact. Trump has offered businesses a huge tax cut, and he's saying that I'll give you much lower corporate tax, 15, 20% tax, and he's made it really attractive. But strangely, businesses are supporting, the big business supporting Hillary. I do not understand this, The only reason I can think of is most of these big American businesses are so globalized that that if Trump raises the protectionist tariff walls, their global businesses would suffer because they're also from outside, they're exporting into America. So Trump has said, I'm going to stop all exports from Mexico into US. So all US businessmen who have put investment in Mexico will have to, will be called into question. So their businesses are very scared. So therefore I feel if businesses are not with you, there could be a problem.
Arvind, you spoke about the very small survey sample. So at the end of it, there are these people who are worried, who, either way who can go.
See, and there are the two things. One is the survey sample sizes are very small. The other thing is what I just observed, the pen and paper survey or the phone surveys versus the completely online surveys are actually producing slightly varied results in same states. So for example, in Iowa, the famous Nate Silver Project 538 or few other surveys are saying that Mrs. Clinton is clearly leading that. But if you see the Google online survey, Mr. Trump is 4 points ahead there. In the same state, same time period. What point Venu made is very interesting. Where the young votes, I think is going to be very critical. And there is an undercurrent, and that's why I think I like the topic of Brexit. There is some undercurrent happening which I think people are not able to figure out. Whether that is strong enough to push him over the barrier of, the 90% women who are not going to vote for him. And if he can get about 8-10% more women voting for him, he could swing the 5 states. And remember, American election now are about the 5 swing states. It's not about New York, California, Texas is all decided. Those are the 3 big states. So it's all about micromanaging those 5 key states which will decide the American election.
So Dilip, how does he get the women voter to vote for him?
As far as women is concerned, he's well before the tapes came out, he tried daughter, wife, everything. Okay, he had tried all his women cards, shall I say, emphatically failed.
But does he have a trump card in the?
Yeah, the only thing that seems to sort of be left in his arsenal is continuing to discredit Hillary in terms of her feelings as a woman. Okay, but the American public has seen enough of that. That's played out almost virtually on live TV. The thing that gives me confidence sitting here far away from there is that among the many surveys, a cephalogist from India who's been reasonably right on many occasions has once again come out and said that it's Trump. So it's Trump who's going to lose. So the fact that our local probably digital polls are also pushing for Hillary victory is an indication that maybe yet again some cephalogists whose methodology is better may be right.
And quite independent. See, that's probably a very valid point, that unlike a lot of
American
sponsored American polls right now, the ones that have come out from India, the 2 I have seen are all showing a 8-9 percentage point lead for Mrs. Clinton, tend to be more independent. So
one more thing, Priya, I find that the issues that Trump has raised about the American old economy jobs having gone away, American, median wages stagnating to levels of real wages stagnate levels from 2000, which many economists like Stiglitz have brought out. These issues are not going away. Even if Hillary wins the election, she will be under tremendous pressure to revive the economy, to revive jobs, the quality of jobs. They're claiming that unemployment rate has come down to whatever 4.5%. But people are also equally saying that the people have gone out of the employment market. That's why it's showing such low figures. People are just have not come back into the market after 2008 financial crisis. So there's a lot of things wrong with the American economy. I think it's a big challenge. Whoever.
But even does the economy win an election? You have
it does. I mean,
it's more emotions and feelings. Even with India, if you see Prime Minister Modi talk development, but at the end, you bring in your Hindutva card, you bring in the emotions.
See, at the end of the day, jobs is what matters to people, right? Because that's their livelihood.
It does, but ironically, that doesn't reflect in the election.
See, it is anti-establishment. They suffered under the previous establishment. This is going to be Obama 3.0, the third term. So that's the thing that Mr. Trump is hoping for. They're communicating that it's Obamacare is going to hurt small businesses hire people, so your jobs are not to come back. So unless you make small businesses more viable, jobs are not going to come back. And again, going back to the 5 swing states, that's the number one. I asked one of the big pollster in America. He said, what are the top 5 issues in these 5 states?
Yeah, that's interesting.
Jobs, cost of education, jobs. So when that's the agenda, I think, as I said, I think Mr. Trump is making a lot more sense, not because he's making sense, because they trust Hillary and the current administration a lot more in making them come to a situation where they are right now.
But here, Priya, you raised a very interesting question. Karl Marx famously said that economics always trumps identity and culture issues, right? But there are periods in history when identity and culture issues, they gain an upper hand, especially during times of recession. They do, come up, nationalism, warmongering, all this helps.
Is there, yes.
It peppers over economics.
And we are not mentioning surgical strikes.
Yeah, I mean,
No, we are
I'm not talking about India. I'm
No,
generally.
I'm just joking, yes.
Even in Turkey, Erdogan did very well in his first term. In the second term, he's on the back foot, and he's also playing nationalism as a card.
But Dilip, the whole thing about, what we're talking about, the emotions, the whatever. But in Brexit, actually, what happened was people are looking for a change, the unconventional. That seems to be also appealing to the people, not
looking
the
for
Obama
a change
3.0.
or harking for what they thought was a happier past. You see, the problem is that in America also, there is a certain bunch of people in the Rust Belt, partially the states which he talked about, who actually believe that American manufacturing of the so-called kind which can employ them, which it cannot, by the way. Future employment is not going to, and the smart guys have figured it out, is going to be, even if you put up protectionist walls, it's going to be robots which are going to get the jobs. It's not going to be these people, the rednecks. And the redneck vote is what Trump is hoping on. So it's always, in a sense, a Brexit kind of sense, it's a harking back to a past which probably doesn't exist in the new economy. So and that's the worry I have.
So the
Okay, well,
Brexit,
I'm going to come back to you, but a quick break. After that, I'm going to come back and we'll go back to Arvind. Welcome back to the NewsX Sunday Guardian Roundtable. Well, we are here discussing whether Trump can pull off a Brexit and come out with some hidden vote that may actually win him the election. Arvind, you wanted to come in on this?
see, the thing is, what happened in Brexit, if you understand, is that the bigger towns ended up voting against Brexit. They wanted to stay in EU. They
And
understood.
London voted against.
The London voted against it. But again, London is not UK, right? And same thing is happening in the US right now. As I said, the bigger states are all decided. California overwhelmingly Democratic. In fact, there are boards out there which says Republicans for Hillary. So there's very big support. The top 5 companies from market cap are all tech companies. They all support Hillary. New York, Hillary. Texas, Republican. So those 3-4 states are decided. But after having accounted for all that, that's 110 electoral votes. 430 odd electoral votes still remain. And that's where the internal battle is being played now. And I think if you observe that at least the second debate and the third debate, that's the two audiences both the candidates are particularly talking to. We may like it or not, but I think both the candidates are very particular talking to that target audience that they need to attract in these Rust Belt / Bible Belt, the Middle America. So it's a micromanaged election. There is, in my opinion, there is an hidden vote, but how much of that is because the headwind against Mr. Trump is very, very strong in terms of the women overwhelming voting against him. So it just depends on the maths now.
The maths and chemistry and what else, Dilip?
And sex.
Yes, a lot.
How can we leave that out of this election? I mean, this election almost got a AAA rating.
That's
the
true.
kind of exchanges which took place, the kind of evidence which was trotted out. You're really talking of an unveiling of what I would call the American reality. It's a reality show, So
I like that.
It's like
yeah.
washing dirty linen imported from China in public.
Very well said. But also, Trump's attempt, he tried to bring in Clinton. He even talked about Kennedy having extramarital affairs, So he's pulling out all his cards on that front.
Those chestnuts have been roasted several times over. I don't think that, this is where Trump is actually, again, showing his appeal to a certain kind of audience which is living in a certain kind of time. You know, this time warp issue is something that will also decide the elections.
But here-
because, yeah, go ahead.
You know, Dilip, just to add to your point, you have to nuance this argument about attitude to women. You know, you could have a mistress, but you could still be respectful towards, you could be towards women in general, and you still can escape the whatever the
Boy talk.
the charge or accusation of being a misogynist. You can. In the case of Trump, it's his attitude which has come through, attitude to women, you know, which is worse than well, having a mistress and yet be seen as respectful to women. That's possible.
I think there is, apart from these issues, of course, which are all valid issues, a couple of other things which are harming Mr. Trump is that he has not shown a team around him. He disagrees, which is fine, with his own vice presidential candidate. You know, with the leader of the House, they don't see eye to eye. So his ability to show a team is also not coming out very positively.
Which is very dangerous, Arvind,
Yeah, because
the
people don't
American,
know.
Also, the American CEO is the only CEO I know in the world of a reasonably large size who has 22 to 25 direct reportees to him. You know, because most CEOs worldwide have no more than 4 or 5. But the American president and the presidential system requires you to have between 22 and 25 direct reportees who report to you every day.
Every day,
So you have to have a slice of mind to be able to understand that and work with the team.
Yeah, so that is another issue that is coming out, which is not working in his favor.
I think also what is working against, if I may interrupt you, is that Trump has no political past. If he had, then all these issues would have come up and been dealt with, as in the case
Well, he
of
has a
Hillary,
reality TV past, which we are saying is coming up every day. But both these issues are haunting both the candidates, right? That all his Miss Universe, reality TV, that past, and what all statements he made then is haunting Mr. Trump, and what all.
No, but that was a 2005 tape. What I meant is that would have come out in 2007, 8, 9, 10 if he had put his hat in the political ring earlier. That he hasn't. Now that past is very new and of course very conveniently is coming out just a week.
But
But not having a political experience is not a negative.
in America, this time
not a
he
negative.
worked in his favor.
Yeah, it's actually worked in his favor.
That's the only reason he was able to reach where he has reached so far.
Look at Reagan. Reagan didn't have a great political past. People loved him, you know. So that is never the prime consideration. But here, Hillary is using her experience to good effect, combined with other negative attributes of Trump. It's only with those negative attributes that Hillary's experience is appearing okay to the voter. Okay, she's also a lot of skeletons in the cupboard, but at least she has
But they are
experience.
familiar skeletons
Yeah,
also.
familiar
We've
skeletons.
heard them, seen them before, we've dealt with them. Yeah, Dilip.
The only new one I think which is coming out, which is hurting her, otherwise it would have been a clear cakewalk, is been about this whole email, the rigging of the democratic process by itself. That is a little bit, again, causing to the distrust, adding to the distrust that has already happened, and new numbers coming out of Clinton Foundation. There is, and that's Mr. Trump's trump card. I mean, he has to
Clinton
see.
Foundation actually is more serious.
Yeah.
The way they did deals, businesses, they deal with global businesses, and those businesses
Then
gave funding to the foundation.
Yeah.
I think that's
But what
Last
the
word,
thing, if you go back to the harking back to the past thing, Hillary hasn't been able to play adequately the so-called Putin role in this election. That's
Yes.
again a hidden danger with which Trump has, has other issues which he probably needs to worry about.
Okay. Well, on that note, as you can see, the elections are this is the last lap of the US elections, but from us, that's all for now. Thank you for watching this roundtable. We'll see you again, same time next week.